And we're back. It has been not even 2 days since I finished filming my last video on the Streets of Mos Eisley playset. The response to which, by the way, was lovely. I got so many lovely comments and it made me smile a lot. But now we're back, which is a way quicker turnaround than between my first and second videos, because the video on this guy was 4 months ago already, which is crazy. But the Streets playset and this actually charged on the same day and shipped from GameStop Canada. And now the Howler is in. The Howler and Sabine Wren, Peridia, from the Ahsoka TV show. Not only that, but you might see in the back here, I've also got these guys in, the new Snowtrooper, and everything kind of hit at once, but you know, when it comes to TVC, when it rains, it pours. That always seems to be the way of things, isn't it? But we're here today to talk about this. Maybe I'll get to this guy at some point. We'll see. But the Howler. This is definitely something I never expected to get. In the past, I've really liked getting beasts and creatures in the line, and it's been a really long time since we've gotten anything other than the Blurg last year. So it's nice to see that these are making a full comeback to the line after a pretty long absence. Other than the Blurg, I think it's been a really long time since we've gotten anything new. We got the update to the Tauntaun back in TVC 1.0. We got the Wampa in the Force Link line, but those are both updates. And I think the last new creature we got was the Jelligrub back in Legacy Collection. This is like 2009. I love this creature, by the way, even though it doesn't really do anything other than chomp his jaws. But now, they're back. The box for this is decent. It looks gray, as Peridia does in the show. You can see the Howler smiling there for the picture. And Sabine on the top. More pictures of them. I like this one of her pointing the direction for it. And you can see him sitting there with the alternate legs. On the bottom, another picture. Side, that's that scene where he's kind of sulking after he ran away from her. That was cute. This side, another one of him sitting. Another one of her shooting. And the back, you've got that same picture from the front and a layout of all the stuff that comes in the box. Once again, not much to say about a box, so let's open it and see what's inside. That's right, it's time for the unboxing. There we go. Luckily nothing fell out of the box this time. There's the Howler, and there's Sabine, and I'm already seeing a problem here. She's on one of those wide deluxe cards. This looks ridiculous. We'll get to it though. We'll get to it. She is VC 352, which puts her between Lieutenant Callahan and the repack of the Mandalorian Super Commando Captain, also from the Ahsoka show. I don't feel like getting into the dilemma of putting these deluxe card backs into the numbered line, and I don't feel like looking at the figure yet, so let's look at what's best about this set. And these are the extra legs for sitting. So here I've got him in a nice neutral pose, and my first impression, he's really good. I like him a lot. Especially with the articulation, which is what I want to go over first, because I think it's the best part. So like with any creature, you'd expect a hinged jaw, which he does have. Just the bottom jaw opens. It doesn't have top jaw articulation like a Hammond collection figure, but that's alright. It disrupts the aesthetic a bit less. In the neck, you can see the head is not entirely flush with the body, but that allows for that much up. You can look all the way up and all the way down. And then super far to the side. And that side too. You can push it really far. Get him looking almost straight to the side. If you look in here, you see there's a double barbell one. Oops. Well, now you can see this better. You can see this barbell has this cutout in the body that lets it go so far up and down. So that's going to give you pretty much all the motion you could ever want from the head. The legs. These are on ball joints too, so you get in and out from this a decent amount. Oops. These limbs come off kind of easily, but they're easy enough to get back on. His elbows, I guess. To 90. Past 90, actually. And back, though you're not going to want to go that far, probably. And rocker wrists, I guess you can call these. Lots of up and lots of back. His hind legs, you also get that same in and out. The knees, all the way forward and to 90. I guess you can call that 90, like this to this. It's about 90. Rocker ankles, that far back, that far forward, and you can wag his tail and go up a bit and down a bit, and even side to side. Nothing in the waist. This is the body's all one solid piece. All of this gives you a great range of expression for this, especially this head. Getting this to go like this and this. It's great, I think. You do have to fiddle with him a little bit to make sure all the legs are sitting on the ground, and he looks like he's not going to break his ankle or something. It's not like one of these where you just have to get the 2 feet down. You have to adjust. Oops. You have to adjust a bit. But he's got so much range of motion that it works well. Okay, well, I've just discovered yet another point of articulation. He's got swivels at the... I think these are called stirrups. And they both swivel. So, let's count the points. 1 for the jaw. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 POA. Pretty good for a beast, I think. Looking at the details, let's go from toe to nose. You can see he's got the triple nostrils sculpted in there. Eyes. Painted really nicely. Clean lines. And they're a bit shiny too. He's got this red painted around his eyes. These straps are sculpted in and painted. And then the reins are a separate piece. I guess that's another point of articulation, is swivel reins, if you count that. And these are removable, but it leaves you behind these face holes, like with Danik Jericho, so you're probably not going to want to have these off, because it'll have these reins sculpted in anyways. The ears are sculpted flat against his neck. I just rewatched the episode that he's in, and this is the position that his ears are in most of the time. So this was the correct choice, and it's probably way easier to engineer it like this. They're just part of the sculpt. But it would have been nice to see that they could, like, if they were like swivel, and he could stick up like this, because he does that to express himself sometimes. So the inside of the mouth is a separately molded piece in white plastic, so you're not going to need to worry about scraping the paint off the teeth when you open and close his mouth, except for these 4 fangs in the front, which you can see are slightly different color, so you have to be careful of those. The inside of the mouth is painted on both sides. If you look too deep, you can see the hinge is unpainted back there, but that's not too big a deal, I think. Another thing I think is missing is, I wish he had a separately sculpted tongue so he could do expressions from those. This thing, can't even fit it in frame. The Hammond Collection T-Rex, he's got that tongue. She has the articulated tongue. But this is a giant figure, so it's probably easier to engineer. But it would have been nice to see here too, because he expresses himself with his tongue a lot. He is a big dog creature. Looking closer at the face, you see he's got these nice wrinkles sculpted all in there. I think the paint on his eyes is supposed to come back over here a bit further if you look at his face in the show. The fur sculpt is nice. He has this kind of like a dry brushed gray over the bottom half of him here. See it all over his belly. Pretty nice fur sculpting in here. He's got the claws sculpted in, but they are not painted. And he's got the pads of his feet sculpted on, so they're not just flat. That's on all 4. His tail is nice and bushy. I haven't seen yet. Oh, I guess we should look at it first, though. The saddle. He's got bones in here for pitching a tent. It's got this saddlebag to keep the apples in. This other saddlebag for watches and diadems. It's got a can of water here. The rest of these for pitching up the tent. Sleeping bag. All the essentials. And it's got this nice leather texturing to it over this part. This part is smoother. These wrinkles sculpted in here. And the sleeping bag has its own unique texture. Okay, finally, I haven't seen yet if the saddle's removable. It's definitely a separate piece. But the one on the blurg was removable. Okay, yes, it is. Oh, maybe not. Oh. That's unfortunate. So it is removable, but you're probably not going to display them like that because of that. That's kind of tragic. I think they did the blurg's removable saddle a lot better. You can see right now that's not going to have the same problem, but when you unplug it, all it leaves behind is this hole in the bottom, and without it you still get a clean blurg back. But they've done this hole in the bottom to make sure the saddle stays in place and doesn't move around. I assume that's why they did this as well. but it leaves behind this big hole in his back, which is really unfortunate. And for reference, he does not have a hole in his stomach. I did kind of get the sense that he might be a bit too thin, but then I compared him to shots from the show. You can see here, he is indeed a pretty thin creature. So I think this is right. Even though he's definitely missing that tongue that he can stick out. Never mind that. I think the thing that was throwing off my perception was that for a while right after he debuted in the show, I was working on this custom, and I know this is cursed because I sculpted the tongue in first so I could sculpt the jaw around it. This was based off of a warg from one of the Hobbit movies, and you can see it's quite a bulky figure, and I was working on this for so long before I abandoned it. But I abandoned this long before this was announced, so it's not like this precluded my custom. I just gave up on it after a while. And you can see he's a lot thicker than the actual TVC one. Funny enough, these are almost the exact same size, though. This one's a little bit taller. You can see. So it's a good choice for basis for the custom, but I'm glad to have an official one instead. And here's a size comparison with the Blurg. The Blurg is taller and bulkier, but I guess I was gonna say the Howler is longer, but they're about the same length. The Blurg is bulkier, but the Howler has way more articulation. So I think it's right that these are about equivalent, price-wise, that is. The only thing I think is a bit strange in terms of the price is this. As you can probably see, she is on a deluxe card. Now, the deluxe figures in Canada retail for about 35 bucks. This was 55. So, is this $25 and this is 35? Because this was also 55, but it just came with a standard carded Mandalorian. So I don't know how that price works out. And I also don't know what makes this Sabine a deluxe figure. Because if you look at her in that bubble, that looks nonsensical. Look at all the space. Like, all those accessories could have easily fit on a standard card. The ARC Troopers definitely come with these same number of accessories. So I don't see a reason to keep this thing carded. And besides, I'll need to take a look at the figure for the review, I guess. So let's open her up. It's a shame, though, because this card back came in really nice condition. The bubble is really clean, no scuffing, no edge marks, unpunched. No flaws around here. None of that glue residue up here. I don't know how well the camera can even see any of that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can see. It's really a nice card. Well, nice condition. Oh, I guess I should talk about the image. I guess it's appropriate for Sabine. She looks appropriately, that's the face she makes through the entire show, so this works as a card. Okay, let's open her. And there she is, free of her plastic prison. Just laying the accessories out like this doesn't look like enough to warrant deluxe. These are more or less the same things she came with in her boxed release. Those, I think, her blasters were painted there. These ones are not. I don't own that figure. It's been discounted a bunch of times, but I just never really bothered. That figure comes with a spray paint can. Instead, this one has the soft goods poncho. And that one also comes with a Loth cat. And this one's got the Howler instead. There's her lightsaber. Focus. enough. It's unique design. It's got these painted bits on it, painted black. Just nice to see. And the other difference between the first release is the helmet, which is now sculpted as a smaller piece instead of the repack of the 12-inch Hot Toys one that came with the first release. Again, I don't have that figure, so I can't do a proper comparison, but there's a lot of paint on the helmet. Looks nice. And here she is. The unique part of this figure are the soft goods. It's just done in 2 layers here. It is stitched together here. But it does a really good job of looking like a proper schmata. This is the exact same figure otherwise, as far as I know. She does have paint underneath the soft goods, which is a relief, and on the back. No shading on the holsters. They're a bit oversized, but not as bad as some, like Django. And you can fit the blasters in easy enough. And there's a peg hole in the belt for the saber to plug in. It's a bit loose in there. Kind of feel like it's going to fall out. Any provocation. Okay, that's better. Just have to push it in a bit more. So she's got the helmet that's swappable, so we're going to have to tear her head off to put that on. Sorry, Sabine. Oh. She'll probably survive that, though. It's fine. And get it on. And there. Maybe let's see how it looks with the soft goods. Oh, you can see it. She puts her arm through this part. So be aware of that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that looks okay. There's a lot of colors on this figure. I guess that's why it's deluxe, because of all the paint apps. I don't know why I had to be on this this way too wide card back. Like, they did need to do this for retail, to distinguish it for retail, because it's just going to be in the box with the Howler. And it's not like it costs more than a standard figure, because the Mando that came with the Blurg was on a standard card, and it's the same price as this set. So I don't know. I don't understand the decision to put this on a deluxe card. So there I've got her back with her schmata and her human face. This is probably how I'm going to keep her displayed, because I like to keep all of the accessories with my figures, and I can't really have her wearing her helmet and carrying her human face. This was definitely a necessary change, because that first release was really bad with that 7-inch helmet. This is my main personal problem against swappable helmets, because I can never have the helmet on. I need to have all the accessories with it, and I can't have them carrying their severed human head. The exception to that is troopers. This is definitely preferred. I don't need to see a Snowtrooper's face ever. So troopers, keep it like this. Main characters, I'd prefer removable if possible. But sometimes it just doesn't work, like with the first release of this figure. So good on Hasbro for listening to people and fixing this. To be honest, I kind of wish I didn't need to buy... this figure to get this guy, but It is what it is. If I have to buy a Mandalorian every time I get a creature, fine. I'll buy Mandalorians if I have to, just to get more creatures. Heck, if they finally do the Ore, the only beast we're missing from the Geonosis arena in Attack of the Clones, and they have to pack it with a repack of Jango Fett, fine. I'll take it so I can finally get that Ore. And here we have the whole Rebels crew finally together. Yep, that's them. Okay, but seriously, look at this pose that I've gotten the Howler into. This is a really good sitting down pose, and I haven't showed this yet, but he does have these swappable legs. So he can lay down like this. I'm kind of tempted to display him like this. I really like this. He looks cute lying down like this. And he's got enough articulation in his forelimbs that he can cross his paws like this. It's cute. But these hind limbs, I can show you. It's easy enough to pop them out and swap in the regular ones. The first time I did this, I had a lot of trouble getting these alternate sitting down ones in, but it takes a bit of effort and there's not quite a satisfying pop to get them in. But you know they're in when they stay, when you move them around next to the saddle like this. These alternate hind limbs also let him do this sitting down pose, so Sabine can come in and scratch his chin. And these ball joints on the back are really solid, so you're not gonna have to worry about breaking it. And the articulated limbs do have a pop when they go on. See? Back to normal. And there she is on his back. I gotta say, the swivel stirrups helped get this in a lot easier. Thinking back to the Endor speeder bike from a couple years ago, and how annoying it was to get the biker scout to sit on that properly, this went a lot easier. But these articulated stirrups definitely help. The Endor speeder bike did not have foot pedals that moved, and that did not help. But as I said, it was fairly easy to get her to sit on this naturally, and she looks good there. Big stretch. Who's a good boy? You are. You are. So there's the set all together, and I think the Howler is really well done. The articulation is top notch. She's very detailed. There are some flaws with it. I think it's missing the tongue. I think that needed to be there. The ears being articulated would be really nice, and I think having the hole in his back where the saddle goes is a serious blunder. But overall, I'm very happy that we just got this at all. When I watched the show, he was my favorite thing in the whole show, and I thought there was no chance we'd ever get him, but I'm happy he's in my collection. Sabine is whatever. She's a repack, I guess a necessary one. People needed this helmet, though I think they could have just packed this helmet in with that Armorer's Forging, and we would have been fine. But getting her Schmata is nice, I guess, and makes sense to pack her with the Howler that belongs to her. I'd love to get some other beasts. I'd love to get an Ore in 3.75 scale with this level of articulation, or at all, really. I love this guy, the Mustafar Lava Flea. Celebrate Revenge of the Sith. He's a bit bigger. The Ore is about the same size as the Howler, so I think they could make it work in one of these sets with either a Geonosian Picador or Django Fit. This one's a bit bigger, but it'd be cool. And finally, I'd love to get a Dactylian up to this quality in 3.75 scale. This would be brilliant. Some others, I guess, due back for Return to Tatooine, an update to that would be nice. The one from A New Hope, preferably based on the original maquette rather than the CGI model from 97. And if they want to do something to go with the OPC killer that we got back in the TPM line, I still want a Colo Clawfish, but I might be alone in that endeavor. Other than Johnny Mustache, I'm sure he wants a Colo Clawfish too. So that's the Howler and Sabine set. I'm happy with my purchase. I'm happy, very happy that creatures are back in the line. I'm happy that they chose to do this one, kind of unexpected, though the Ahsoka show has been really well covered now. And I hope we get more beasts. That's all. Thank you. And most important of all, yes, you can pet the dog.